Hey everybody, welcome to High Def High School. I'm Joe Ball. I want to talk right now about the Virginia 6A state semifinal matchup that's happening this weekend between the Westfield Bulldogs and the South County Stallions. I've got a cohort today who knows something about that. I'm at Freedom High School in Woodbridge, Virginia, and I'm joined right now by Coach Daryl Overton.
Yes, sir.
Daryl is the varsity head football coach of the Freedom Eagles. Coach, you've been in this game before. You played Westfield last year. You went into this field on this weekend, beat the Westfield Bulldogs to move on to the state semifinal. We're 2 days away. Some of these players, it's the biggest game of their lives. What are these players going through? What are these coaches going through right now?
Well, I think, ironically, both of those coaches, Coach Benoni and Coach, they've been there a lot of times. I think the kids, everybody's excited because you get to practice on Thanksgiving and afterwards you got a chance to play. So
let's talk about the matchups. You've got Coach Simmons.
It's going to be about making the other team snap it again next week and hope that the offense makes a mistake. And the kicking game is going to be crucial too. So special teams play a big role, and then you got the turnovers and the penalties. I think they all play a big part in the closer games. So it's going to be a battle. We're happy that it's going to be here and we're in it.
He wants to make you set up and take another snap. He wants to basically bend, box you in, keep it in front of him. And then you've got Stallions who want to open the offense wide open. How do you see the matchup between these two different styles this weekend?
Well, Coach Simmons and Westfield, they're always going to be prepared, and they're always going to, do a good job taking away what you do best. South County is very high tempo. They go really fast, so they may be able to steal some big plays like that with their tempo. They got elite playmakers on the outside and the Brock Spalding kid, and that'll be the interesting matchup to see how the matchups on the perimeter take place.
Coach McAkee, South County loves to throw the football all over the place. They've got the run-pass option, and Matty Ice has got a lot of weapons to spread it around to. But Coach Simmons has a way of minimalizing your options, boxing your offense in and shutting down, like you said, taking away your best weapons.
Offenses are going to move the ball because the other team's got players too, right? And they're going to make adjustments and do a good job. And you get to this point in the playoffs, it's about adjustments.
Let's talk about impact players. None bigger in this game than Noah Kim.
They're a really good team. They're undefeated as well, and it's always between us and SoCo. It seems like every year. I've been fortunate enough to be a part of this program for the last 4 years, and just something that we feel that we have to do, to rewrite last year, and we're excited, and hopefully we can get that win next week.
Noah's talking about rewriting what they started a year ago. Last year in the game against you guys, he broke his leg in the second quarter. We've seen this twice this year in the playoffs. Last week, Grant Wilson, the Yorktown quarterback, went down. He was having a big impact on that game against Westfield. They were done when he was done. And then also the same weekend, Massaponax, Luke Morley, I think he's the best player on that team. He was running just about any way he wanted on Colonial Forge in the third quarter. He goes down, turns his ankle. It's basically over for their offense. In that second quarter last year, how much of an impact did that have?
Well, I think it's different because Noah is good and has all the intangibles of being a good leader and a quarterback, and he runs their offense well. Last year to me, their offense got scarier and more unpredictable when Taylor Morin goes to quarterback. I mean, he's a Division I athlete, catching the snap. I don't think necessarily South County has an advantage with playmakers.
Right.
I just think that they rely on them more. Because, Noah has
Which can be a problem.
Yes, he has number 17, the kid with the long hair who was at Stonewall.
Yeah.
He's
Avery Howard Jr.
He's a playmaker in his own right.
Yeah.
He does a lot of good things when he has the ball in his hand. It's just a matter of, like you said, getting those playmakers matched up in positions they're going to win.
And let's stay there. Let's talk about this. Simmons is going to try to take away what South County wants to do. South County, Coach G, he's got to get to Noah. He talked about the pass rush. He talked about not making him uncomfortable.
With Noah, if you let him sit in the pocket and you let him have his time to throw, he's going to complete the ball. He's very accurate with his throws. But if you can knock him off his spot, and obviously that's something that we feel like we can do with our defensive line. You got to have really good coverage behind it. But if you knock him off his spot, that decreases his accuracy, and at that point you got a chance to win that particular play.
It's really important for South County not to give Noah Kim time to throw that football, because when he does, he's very accurate.
They protect him well, the quarterback, with play action.
Yeah.
They use so much play action that he's protected. We took a different approach. We felt like we could cover the receivers man to man and make him, run or be super accurate. So like you said, getting to him is always a goal. That's any quarterback. I don't think that type of stuff makes him get frazzled. I think that's one of his better qualities is I think he's a very moxie kid and he got a lot of toughness. So I don't think he gets frazzled when people get around him. It's just last year I thought we matched up very well covering their receivers up and letting him try to be perfect in his throws.
Simmons also likes to bruise you. He likes to soften up that defensive line. And Michaia Green, don't even know if he's healthy right now. He came out of the game holding his shoulder this weekend, and he did not return. But I've been poking around on social media trying to figure it out. There's no indication that he's not going to play this weekend. But it's kind of an old-fashioned type of football that they play. It's pound you first, and then know it's going to throw. What does South County do to stop the ground game?
Well, again, I think the best thing you could do versus Coach Simmons and them guys, they do a good job of formationing you with their double tight sets where you don't have a defender to where they want to run. Both teams are going to do a very good job defending each other's best stuff. It's going to be who's going to make the plays, whether it be in the special teams game, big plays at the receiver, big plays on defense. I feel like that's going to be the deciding factor.
You bring up two things. One, execution. Coach Pannoni agrees with you.
I think it's just a matter of execution, great weeks of practice coming up into the games, and just being focused and ready to go.
Making plays is huge in this type of game. They've got to come out with an attitude, with a chip on their shoulder, I think, if they're going to win this game. Tynan Rolander, one of the mainstays of the defensive coaching staff there at South County, told me that they want to get to the ball angry, and they've got to do that this weekend. In 2015, they did that to everybody until the Westfield game. Westfield came out and the wheels fell off that South County defense. They've got to have a nasty attitude this weekend and come out with something to prove.
Yeah, and my thing is I wouldn't approach it as looking at a mountain. Because last year everybody kept saying, you got to go to Westfield. We was like, we don't care about that. What are you talking about?
Right.
Again, it's a matter of, like you said, this is a football game you got to win. If you worry about all the success they've had and all that type of stuff, then they get in your head mentally. You just got to say, forget it and go play. One thing that South County has going for them, where I felt like we did a good job, is they're very athletic on their defensive front. Last year, I felt like we gave Westfield a little problems with our defensive front guys being athletic and fast. Westfield, a lot of times, they're going to do things by getting in double tight to take away your athleticism, and they're going to run outside zone and see if you got enough guys away from the two receivers, stuff like that. So they're going to formation you. People in the stands look at, it's all right, football, you should have ran, should have passed it. It's a bigger chess match going on than that. And like I said, the one for me last year with Westfield was when they go double tight and they put two receivers to the field, so they're in a trade formation, how are you going to defend them on the weak side? Because now they're going, if you only got one guy there, they're going to run outside zone there and take advantage of the numbers. So again, it's the chess game within the chess game, and as fast as South County goes, they're doing the same thing. They're just trying to create a mismatch or get you not to line up correctly to get a bubble to do what they want to do. So
let's talk about another part of the game that can be missed, special teams. In the past, Jerry Pannoni likes to go for it on fourth down a lot. That's hurt him against Westfield. He's ended up giving them short field. And in my experience watching Westfield, South County, their big plays come from the 50 in, Westfield, and they break it. There was a kid, he was only 175 pounds, Beard, a few years back. South County shut Westfield down for the most part, but he had 3 breakaway runs of 40 yards plus in that game, untouched almost because of the trapping, and that's when the wheels started to fall off. How important is special teams? Simmons plays it safe. He's playing for field position. He's waiting for you to make a mistake, and he wants you to line up and snap it again. Is Pannoni, he's a wild card. You don't know what he's going to do, but does that hurt him?
No, I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, you got to do what you believe in. And if that's his belief in their system and that's what his kids have bought into, you got to roll with it. You can't change it up now. Sometimes it's high risk, sometimes it's, high reward. If not, it's the other way around. But I agree with you. Like you said, Coach Simmons and those guys, they kind of try to let you self-destruct, and they try to capitalize on it. You know what I mean? So I think they do a good job of that.
Let's talk about the South County defense. You mentioned the defensive front. Westfield focuses on stopping your 3 best options. these guys have got a lot of folks that get after that quarterback. You got Haris Kahn, you got Dayne, you got Dorian Mitchell. I call him Little Truck. You got Tyler Sims, Dayshawn Coleman, Akibu Komara. It's almost relentless the way they come after that quarterback, and they don't stop coming.
They're very athletic up front. They do a good job running to the ball, and like you said, the Kahn kid stuck out to me the most. He's athletic, but again, sometimes the formation that Westfield, that double tight, it slows that down. Yeah. Because you got to be so sound in your run fits, because by going double tight, you're creating an extra gap. So you can't be fast running up the field. And the game within the game, are those guys, have they been tested physically to where they're going to be able to stand up? You know, so that's what I think it'll come down to.
Have they?
Again, I personally, like I said, I know they're a good team. We played them, a lot of respect for them. But again, their region, to get to where they at,
right,
and wasn't the strongest. They got a coach that's been there, done that. So I think those guys are super athletic. Is now you got to stand in there, and now you got to do it against somebody that's going to hit you right back.
Huge key is depth. I think staying healthy is important in this game. Noah Kim goes down. I think they're done. Michaia Green doesn't play this weekend. That takes a lot out of their running game. They're not the same team. Gabe Shanks is the next running back in there. A lot smaller, a lot less aggressive. Soko has got to stay healthy. Matty Ice goes down. They don't have anybody else.
Yeah.
And they're not the same team without him. Right now you got Charlie Mishka. He's not playing in the game. As far as I know, everybody else is healthy. How important is depth? You mentioned earlier this year, talking about last year's state final, that you were worried about getting kids hurt. Obviously you said you can't do that, but if you get kids hurt, it's a big factor.
Yeah, I think the thing that both those teams got going for them, no matter what, is they got good systems. I don't always think the guy that they got in certain places are special regardless. They're a good high school football player that everybody got. But the system that both those staffs have put in place works regardless. And,
right.
I think, we try to mimic them in that regard. When you build a good program, guys are going to come in and out all the time. We lose AJ, but we got Quest. Right. You lose Taquan, this year you got JT. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
you're developing kids.
Yeah, hopefully both those guys stay healthy, their quarterbacks. You don't have to do that. But any high school program, your quarterback go down, you got some major adjustments. It's not, Division I football. Even those guys struggle when the top guys go down, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Both those coaches' defenses, they got great systems. Even when Noah went down versus us, they still came back in the game, and it was a dogfight all the way down to the last possession. Yeah. I think the depth is always in Westfield's favor, and that's why I said, guys always say, well, they don't have all these bunch of stars, but they have. Last year, Taylor, Asante, those are D1 guys.
Right.
But what they do have is numbers. Yeah. And when you got 100 kids and nobody else has that, right, and you can practice just offense for 2 hours every day, and this group can practice just defense, when most of us are splitting the time daily, that makes a big difference.
And they've got some strong players anyway. Richie Aguilar, Caleb Wheatland,
exactly.
E.T. Bushra, those guys are physical, they're big kids. C.J. Hoffman, and can't underestimate the weight room. The weight room plays a huge role. Both those guys think it's important. They're both doing it. A little video here of C.J. Hoffman on Twitter of him putting up 300 pounds on the bench. Simmons takes the weight room seriously. Both these guys do, but that has been the strength of Westfield a lot over the years. They just out-physically you. Colonial Forge.
Yep.
Let's talk about them. And Oscar Smith.
Yep.
I don't know much about Oscar Smith. I haven't seen him this year. What do you see going down there?
I've seen him. Honestly, like you said, and no disrespect to anybody, I felt like whoever came out of our region would go on to the state championship just because of the teams that were put in our region.
Right.
I felt like whoever made it out was going to be tested. Oscar Smith.
So did you take offense when I said that you guys had struggled to find competition? I just meant you were beating the hell out of teams.
No, listen, you're 100% correct in regards to how we went through the district. I think Colonial Forge will beat those guys.
So you think Oscar Smith goes down this weekend, Colonial Forge moves on to the state final?
I do.
Okay, Westfield, South County. What do you think is going to happen?
If I had to go with it, I'm going to go with Westfield, but it wouldn't shock me either way.
Right. Exactly what I said. I can't call this game, but I do think that South County's got something to prove before I say the Stallions go on. They've got to get pressure on Noah Kim more than anything. They've got to own that line of scrimmage. We've heard it from their own mouths now. They feel they have the best front seven in the state. If that's true, then the time to show it is right now. Goal line, short yardage, smothering Westfield like they have the other teams they've played this year depends on that defensive front. I know that Coach Simmons teaches the Westfield boys about adversity. When they get punched in the mouth, they're going to keep fighting no matter what. That's what SoCo needs to do if they move on this weekend. They can do it. They certainly have the talent, but they need to step up to a higher level of fight and toughness to get there. Coach McAkee is going to have to adjust. They've got to figure out what Westfield is giving them from a defensive standpoint. They will be giving them something. They just have to figure out what that is. This is a big weekend. It's a big test for them. They've been to beyond this game before in 2011, but the last 5 years, Westfield has been that team that has owned these playoffs in this side of the region. What do you got going on for you over the next couple of months? You've got some things going on in terms of your camps,
Yeah, well, main thing for me now, coaching girls basketball. I was asked to do that, so doing that. And then, like you said, we get ready for our weightlifting and our 7-on-7 travel stuff. Playmakers Elite 7-on-7 is open to players from everywhere.
And what is it?
It's travel 7-on-7. So we got the head coach from Forest Park, coach with us, head coach from Osborne, Cortez, coaches with us. Just so people don't think we're not trying to recruit your kids.
Right.
But what we do is we go play 7-on-7 versus all-star teams. The best team is from Virginia Beach. The best teams from North Carolina, Maryland.
You're not trying to recruit their kids. You're making their kids better.
Yeah, that's it. Just going to get work. Yeah. Iron sharpens iron. We don't play in a lot of local 7-on-7 stuff. We just go play against, in the battle tournaments and the 7-on-7 IMG stuff where you get to play against all the best players are on one team.
Right.
So, it's good work. So anybody's welcome to do that, man. We don't turn nobody away. We even got it from 8th grade all the way to 12th grade.
Coach Daryl Overton of the Freedom Eagles. This is going to be an exciting weekend. There's a couple of big games.
Awesome, man.
Get out there. If you live up here in Northern Virginia, get out to Westfield High School. The Stallions and the Bulldogs will be on the field at 3 o'clock in Chantilly, Virginia. And down in the Tidewater area, Oscar Smith is hosting Colonial Forge. That's a huge game, too.
Huge.
Coach, thank you so much for joining me.
Appreciate you.
In Woodbridge, Virginia for High Def High School, I'm Joe Ball.